guys, and welcome to vlog number 9. Today is going to be quite a long vlog, so just a little bit of warning. However, please do stick with me because it's going to be somewhat of an emotional roller coaster. Emotions, productivity, plans, excitement, lots of things. There's a whole ton of stuff that I want to talk to you guys about today. So we're going to begin with yesterday, which was Thursday, and it was weigh-in day. Now, I've actually even gone as far as writing notes for my first part of this vlog because there's that much stuff that I want to try and cram in. So basically yesterday it was weigh-in day. I was quite prepared to get on the scales and have either a maintain, or I was expecting possibly a bit of a gain. However, when I stepped on the scales and the numbers spun up and registered in my head, my hands pretty much went straight to my head and I was like, oh no, what have I done? I gained 6 pounds. 6. At the time, I think the only thought that was going through my mind was, what the... I was very disappointed. I was very upset, and I was very ashamed of myself. I had planned on recording this vlog for my weigh-in yesterday. However, after the result that I got on the scales, unfortunately, it put me in a place mentally where I didn't really want to be. And I don't think it would have been a very enjoyable vlog for you had I have come on and recorded it yesterday. Also, there was a lot of stuff that went on yesterday that either I wasn't planning, wasn't expecting, or had completely forgotten about. So I'm going to basically run through what happened yesterday, which will also explain why I didn't actually have time to do the vlog, even if I had have been in the right place to do it. The day started off pretty well. I got the kids to school on time without any major issues, which was all good. Went to weigh-in, obviously got the 6 pound gain, was totally gutted. To the point where I actually cried at group. However, despite everything inside me just wanting to leave class and come home and bawl my eyes out in the privacy of my own home, I stayed to class. I stayed for image therapy, and while everybody else was getting weighed after me, I went and chatted with a couple of friends that I have at group who were very kind and very supportive and very positive and very encouraging. They understood what it was like because they'd been there themselves. They understand how upsetting it can be and how frustrating it can be, and they really were just full of positive comments and lots of encouragement and love, and that was when I cried. I think it was a combination of frustration and also the fact that I had those people there that were able to empathise with me and help me and actually care that I was upset and that things weren't going as I wanted them to go. And so I really, really appreciate those people. And I'm hoping that those 2 or 3 people in particular that were very supportive of me yesterday are actually watching this vlog. And if you are, Aileen and Celia and Nicola, I love you guys so much. And I really, really appreciate the time and the support that you all gave me yesterday, and that you continue to give me whenever I need it. So you guys are just amazing. Thank you. So I got through class, came home, had a super fast tidy up in my lounge because it was just like a bomb site, as it is most days until I get around to doing my housework. So I did that, and over like the next hour or so, we did lunch. My friend came back with me after class, so there was the 2 of us here. I had a packet of the Bachelor's super low-fat noodles, the chicken ones. I had those for lunch. I wasn't all that hungry, but I needed to have something, so I figured, well, they're free, and so, you know, they'll do. They're hot, they're filling, they're reasonably tasty, they'll do. So that's what I had. And we were discussing other meal ideas, other things I could try, other meals that I've done in the past that I enjoyed, that I could do again. While we were doing that, I also placed another order with Muscle Food. It's not as big an order as I placed last time. I obviously got their like big meat packs and things last time, and the new customer selection pack and everything, which was great. I still have a lot of like the chicken and things left from that order, so I certainly didn't need any more chicken, but I've ordered some very, very low sin, in fact some, I think, sin-free sausages from them, some more of the hash steaks I really liked, some more of the protein rolls, some of their 0 calorie, the Walden Farm tomato ketchup, and a few other bits and pieces. So that's all coming next Tuesday. Unfortunately, they weren't able to deliver it any sooner, so I'm going to have to sit tight and wait for that order to come. But that was another thing that I got done. So that's more food that's coming, excuse me, that will help with staying on plan. As we were sitting eating lunch, from the back of my mind somewhere, I got a reminder that my car's MOT was due to expire today, so tomorrow. And so I phoned the garage asking if they would be able to fit it in for today on Friday, so that I could go and do the school run and then drop the car off. And after a 5-minute conversation with the garage, they're like, look, if you bring the car down now, we'll fit it in as quickly as we can and have it back to you before the school run this afternoon. So literally it was like, drop everything, jump in the car, take it up to the garage, brisk walk back to the house to get a few other bits and pieces done, and then walk back up to the garage again afterwards to pick up the car in time to go and do the school run. Now, I was reasonably confident that the car was going to pass its MOT. I'd spent quite a lot of money on it over this last year on getting work done to it, so I was hoping that it was going to pass first time. Unfortunately, when I went to pick it up, they said, no, sorry, it's failed. As you can imagine, my heart sunk. My head was just like, Wah. But it wasn't as bad as I thought. Basically, the only things it had failed on was a few bulbs. You know, there was nothing mechanically wrong with the car. It was literally just some bulbs. I did ask them at the time. I was like, look, have you got these in stock? Can you just put them on? I need the car. I've got to go, but I need it to pass. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough time to do it before the school run, so I actually had to take the car, go and do the school run, go back to the garage with my children and get them to replace all of the bulbs and retest the car again, and then we got the pass certificate for it. So thankfully there was nothing major wrong with it. It didn't actually cost me a fortune to get it fixed, and now that is all legal and on the road again, which is fantastic. And it was done a day ahead of when it was due, so I'm quite proud of myself for that. It happened before, like, the very last minute for a change. However, when we were just finishing off the paperwork at the garage and I was just paying for the bulbs and things, I actually had a phone call from one of my son's youth workers, telling me that he was outside our house. I had totally forgotten that my son had a contact with them not long after school. And so literally, I mean, it's a good job that the garage is only like a few minutes away from the house, because otherwise it would have just been a complete nightmare. So it was literally like bundle the kids in the car, get back to the house, sort my son out with his contact and everything. I think at that point I started to relax a little bit, because I knew that like the most important things of the day had been done. The school run had been done, I'd been to class, the MOT had been taken care of, my son was now with his youth worker, we were home, that's it, we didn't need to go out again. So finally I could actually sort of take a breath and just calm down a little bit. It was then on to things just like the general household things. I went and hung some washing out. I put some dinner on for the kids. Last night we decided they were going to have baked potatoes. So baked potatoes and cheese and ham and tin spaghetti and things like that. Quite a lot of the time they will also have healthy meals like I do. Not all of the time, but at the end of the day, they're kids. Kids like pizza and chicken nuggets and things like that. That's, I don't mind that as long as some of the time they're eating healthy foods as well. And I also put some Slim & Well chips into my air fryer, because earlier on in the day when I'd been talking to my friend, we decided that tonight we were going to do egg and chips and tin spaghetti, because after such a kind of crappy start to the day, I was wanting just some kind of wholesome comfort food, but something that wasn't going to end up costing me a whole ton of sins. So Slimming Well chips, an egg fried in firelight, and some tin spaghetti. A sin-free meal. Admittedly, there was no speed food on my plate, but there were no sins either, and so that's what I was focusing on for last night. So yeah, I had dinner, potted about in the kitchen a bit, doing some more tidying up. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to yesterday. I got things like my ironing board put away. I got clothes sorted into piles for putting away today. I made some jelly. Now, I decided that I was going to do it a little bit differently, because a couple of days ago, I'd been up to the Poundshop and I'd bought like these little Tupperware boxes. They were like just sort of little rectangular ones, just about that deep, about that kind of size. You get 4 of them for £1. And I thought, well, if I make my jelly into these little tubs, then rather than wanting some jelly and going and taking the big bowl out of the fridge and just, munching away and probably eating more than I would otherwise, I would dish it up into these kind of small boxes so that I would actually have a snack that I could take out of the fridge and knew that I could eat all of that and know how many sins was in it, and it'd all be good. When I was making it, it occurred to me that to make it a little bit more filling, and also to add a little bit of speed food into it, I could chop up some pear and put it into it. So I made up the orange jelly. I actually used 2 of the sachets, so I made like a bigger jelly, and chopped up some pear into each of these 4 containers. And then once the jelly had cooled down a little bit, poured it into the boxes and then put it into the fridge. I wasn't sure whether it would set. I know that if you use fruits like pineapple, the acidity of it stops the jelly from setting. But I was hoping that because pears are just generally quite sweet, that they'd be okay. So I put those away in the fridge last night, and I checked them this morning and they've set and they look really, really good. So I am looking forward to enjoying one of those tonight for my pudding. I will show you them later because I intend to do some more recording in the kitchen. So I'll show you what they look like. So yeah, I made the jelly, got the kids ready for bed. I watched a couple of other people's YouTube videos because I do watch some of you guys, some of your channels, and I watched a guy doing some simple to make, like homemade sweets, like jelly sweets and things, a bit like the Slimming World Haribo type sweets and things like that, just looking for some inspiration. And I was chatting on WhatsApp with a friend of mine as these ideas were kind of popping to mind as to things that I could create as at kind of reasonably low sin values to give me something very sweet to have in the evening to kind of stave off those cravings for wanting like tons of chocolate and stuff like that I could still have within my sin allowance for the day. I'll tell you a bit about those later on, but I was really quite excited about some of the ideas, and so I'm going to get the ingredients and things that are going to be needed, and as I actually try them I will record them and show you photos and things so you'll see them. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to those. Like, it's funny the things I get excited over, but yeah, we'll come up with some quite good like puddingy ideas as well. So if I can remain on plan throughout the day, I can then have this nice sweet treat in the evening, which is still within my sin allowance, so I can actually finish the day on plan within my allowance, and hopefully next week when I get on the scales they won't be quite so nasty to me. So yeah, did the jelly, came up with some more ideas. I've jotted those down so that I don't forget them. I had a couple of the Alpine Light bars that I like. I had those for my supper, so that was my healthy bee allowance for the day. And I also treated myself to a curly whirly with my bedtime cup of tea, because I had been very, very good. I hadn't had any sins all day, not on chocolate, not on mayo, not on anything at all. I hadn't had any sins, so I thoroughly enjoyed my curly whirly for 6 sins. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, I can actually have up to 20 sins a day. So I still actually have those kind of extra sins that, although you're not meant to carry them over, if I have a day where I'm cooking something where I need a few more sins, or if I have an incredibly bad day where I kind of go over them, I've now kind of got that bit of a buffer. I've got 14 extra sins there that can kind of cover my backside, if you like. So yeah, I had that. I got myself up to bed. I settled down. I woke up at like 2 o'clock this morning. What is it about 2 o'clock in the morning? I seem to, like, almost every night religiously wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It sucks. And ultimately, as soon as I wake up, I need to go to the loo. So literally, it's not just waking up and then trying to go back to sleep. It's waking up, getting up, coming downstairs, and then it's like, right, well, I'm down here, so I'll get a drink and I'll do this and I'll do that. And eventually got back to sleep and then woke up again at 6:30 before my alarm went off. And that was me. So yeah, lots of stuff happened yesterday, but I'm quite glad in a way that it did. I think if I'd have had a very kind of quiet day where there hadn't really been much going on and I hadn't really been in contact with other people, I think I probably would have really sunk down into the depths of despair and depression, because the result that I got on the scales really, really had quite a bad effect on me. I know it probably sounds ridiculous. At the end of the day, it's a gain. It's, you know, it's my own fault. I went over my sins. I had a takeaway. I did things that I wasn't meant to do. It is my own fault because I wasn't on plan. But it doesn't stop it upsetting you, even if you know why it's happened. I mean, I knew that I hadn't been 100% on plan last week. I knew that I had been ill for a lot of the week. I knew that it was that time of the month, and so I was bloated and everything, and I just had a really kind of crappy week, to be fair. But I wasn't expecting that big a gain. You know, if it had been like £2, maybe even 3, I probably could have just accepted that and not been too gutted about it. Probably would have thought that's what I deserve, and that's, you know, so that's okay. Yeah, I think the scales were kind of extra harsh on me this week. So I'm trying to get really, really super kind of focused and positive for this week. I'm feeling much, much more positive already because my first day, Thursday, first food day of the week has gone really, really well. And because I've got these kind of exciting ideas of these new things that I want to try, I'm remaining positive so far. The weekends always tend to be challenging because my kids are here, my ex is here. There's much more kind of opportunity for sweet things to be around, for takeaways to be around, you know, but I'm gonna try and resist all of those things, or just have a small amount within my sin allowance that I'm allowed to have so that I can stay on track. Now, the other things that I have started doing today, I have 3 books here. Now, this is probably partly my OCD coming out. As you'll know from previous videos, it does kind of raise its head sometimes, but I'm trying to use it to my advantage. Now, what I have here, this one is the diary. It's a academic year diary. So basically, it's just a week to view kind of diary. I've not written anything in this yet, but this is going to be, I'm going to put all of my children's contacts in here, so I know exactly when they are, because I get the details of those each weekend. So I'm going to put those in each weekend. I'm going to put all of the school holidays in here. I'm going to put, I'm going to use it for like recording, you know, when I come on and come off and stuff, so that I've got all of that and I don't have to try and remember it. Yeah, this is going to be used for meetings, for MOTs, for everything that I need to remember that is important. Dates and times and things are all going to go into this diary. So this is going to be something that I'm going to try and train myself to look at every day, so that I know if there are things going on, and if they are going on, when they're going on. The second one, I picked this up. Can you see that? Yeah. From, I think it was like the Co-op or the Poundshop or something. It's just like a little hardback recipe book. It's a notebook. But the idea is, you basically just get a page that you can doodle down all of your recipes. So I've put a couple in. Like my cinnamon eggy bread, I've jotted down what goes into that and which bits are free and which bits are sinned. And done the same with the smash pizza. I'm going to add to this things like my cottage pie, my hunter's chicken, and any other recipes, and my pudding ideas and things, if they work, so that I've then got my own record of what I've put into things, and if it's worked and if it's not, and then I can go back and tweak things. So I'll have my own record of all like my favourite recipes, and you know, the things that I want to keep and do on a regular basis, so that I don't forget what I've put in them. Because let's face it, if I don't use something like this, then every time I make it, it's going to come out slightly different, because I'll put in different quantities, or I'll put in different ingredients, or, you know, hey, that's life. And this one, should we try it that way? Now this, I love this. This is quite a thick book, just a little bit smaller than A4 size. I actually got it from Asda. It's just a journal. It's a journal book. It's got a kind of, well, I think it's plastic, but it's a kind of leathery feel cover. And I've started using it. Now, what I'm going to try and do is use this every day to record what I'm eating and how I'm feeling and my ideas for things to try, and little kind of motivational notes to myself, and what I've used my sins on, and on weigh-in days it will have like my weight losses, and hopefully not too often my gains, because obviously, like you can see there, 6 pound gain. But I've got I've got my plan of action here, of the things that I want to do. So things like resisting takeaways, planning more sin-free meals, finding more low-sin sweet treats, keeping a food diary, trying to get more speed food in, placing a muscle food order, making individual jellies, find cheese that you can have 70 grams of. I'm coming back to that later. Find someone to hold me accountable. and use my journal, my diary and my recipe book. And obviously, like I say, at the bottom it's kind of got what I've had for lunch and dinner and my sins and my supper and stuff like that. And like my little funky curly whirly doodle. So this is what I've planned. This is like my plan for how I can try and pull things back for next week. Some of these things I've already done. Obviously keeping a food diary. Well, this, to all intents and purposes, is going to be my food diary. I've placed another muscle food order. I've made some individual jellies. I've actually found and sourced the cheese that I can have 70 grams of. I found somebody that I can kind of send my food diary to every day that is more than happy to kind of hold me accountable to trying to stick to plan and use my journal, diary and recipe book. Well, that's obviously what I am doing. That's what I'm in the process of doing right now. So yeah, these 3 books are hopefully going to help me through the week, not only with my Slimming Well journey, but in life in general, trying to get me organised, and hopefully the positivity can continue through this week and we'll have a much better result on the scales. So that's basically all of yesterday and my hectic day and the start of today, me using these. I'm going to wrap up this bit for now, and then I'm going to come back in the kitchen in a little while and we'll carry on with Friday's vlog that we're kind of merging with Thursdays. See you in a bit, guys. Hello, you are now back with me in the kitchen. So I've got a couple of things I wanted to show you. I mentioned to you earlier about a healthy extra cheese that you could have 70 grams of. Well, this is one of them. There are a couple, I believe, that you can actually use, but this one here, it's the Eat Lean My Protein cheese. It's one that is available from Morrison's, amongst other places. This one you can actually have 70 grams of instead of the 40 grams of reduced fat cheddar. Now, I haven't tried it yet. Obviously, it's still sealed. I only got it this morning, but I'm quite excited to try it. I've read a lot of reviews about these cheeses, and obviously because they're like, I think it's more of a processed cheese than normal cheddar is, apparently it's not so great to have on things that you would, you know, eat it cold or eat it raw. So maybe if you were going to sprinkle grated cheese on a jacket potato, or you know, grate some cheese into a sandwich or something like that, it's not all that flavoursome. It's not all that great to have cold. However, there's been some quite positive reviews for when it's used in things where it can be melted. So things like lasagna. I mean, I was thinking, well, if you had it on a baked potato, you could quite easily melt it over a potato. If you were going to do smashed pizza, obviously it's going to be melted. If you were going to have, say, a hash steak burger, you could melt the cheese over that. Apparently, as long as it's melted, it's much more edible and enjoyable than if it's in its raw form. So I've got some ideas that I'm going to try with that, and I will let you know. I'll let you know what it tastes like and how kind of usable and edible it is. I hope it tastes nice because I am quite a cheese monster. I do like my cheese. At the end of the day, I've not really got anything to lose. If it's not as brilliant as I hope, then I'll just have to stick with my 40 grams of reduced fat cheddar that I already use. But I'm kind of hoping that if I get on well with this, it means that I can use my healthy extra A allowance on 70 grams of cheese, which means I could potentially have cheese at lunchtime and at dinner time. And then the milk that I use in my tea, I can just sin, which will probably only be about 3 sins in a day. Or alternatively, I can use, say, 35 grams, which would be half of my allowance on this and half on my milk. So either way, I'm getting more cheese for my sins, basically. So I'll let you know how I get on with that. The other thing I wanted to show you was my little jelly pots. Now these little tubs, they're just small ones. These are the ones I got from Poundland. And as you can see, the jelly has set. So I'll open one up just so we can have a look inside. There you go. Oh, it smells lovely. Nice orange jelly. It's the Hartley's sugar-free jelly crystals, jelly powder, jelly granules, whatever they call them. Sugar-free jelly that comes in powder form. And I've chopped up some fresh pear into the bottom of it, so it will make the snack more filling, but it will also give me another speed food to add to my list for the day, which is a bonus. I'm looking forward to also doing a similar thing with the strawberry jelly. I want to get some fresh strawberries and chop them up into jelly as well. I think that would be quite nice. I also have the more of the lemon and lime jelly, but I'm not entirely sure what fruit would go well with those. I'm certainly not going to chop up fresh limes or lemons and put them in, because I think that would just completely detract from the point of having a sweet snack, because they would be rather bitter. So if you've ever put fruit into lemon and lime jelly and it's worked nicely, let me know what fruit it is that you put in there. I don't know, maybe whether like oranges might work. I mean, I know I don't have any oranges suitable for putting into jelly at the moment, hence why I've got pears in my orange jelly. But I'm just wondering, because obviously oranges are still kind of citrusy, whether they would work quite well with the lemon and lime, but I'm not sure. So yeah, let me know. Otherwise it's just going to be a case of trial and error for me, really, just seeing what fruit I've got and trying different things and seeing what tastes nice. As you can see, my kitchen is far from perfect. However, I've unloaded the dishwasher and I've reloaded it with all the crap that I had covering my worktop this morning. So that's great, that's done. I've got a few bits to put away on the draining board, but that'll only take a couple of minutes. I should really be doing stuff while I'm talking to you, but obviously I wanted to show you those bits. Oh, something else that I got. This was another Poundshop buy. I do love my Poundshop bargains. It's a family organiser. And let's face it, I need as much help organising as I can get. This one's actually for 2017, so obviously I need to try and keep this in a safe place. Ooh, fly. For like a couple of months until January. But basically, it shows you on the back, it gives you like different columns so that you can, each family member kind of has their own column. And so that might be quite good for putting like the kids' contacts and stuff on, and like if they've got any appointments and stuff. And I thought, you know what, for the sake of £1, it's probably quite a good buy. These freezer bags, because I am like the queen of freezer bags. Everything goes into freezer bags. My kids' snacks to take to school, all of my meat and stuff, when I get it, I freeze it down into portions. You know what, even when I'm organising my kitchen and organising random bits and pieces, like when I got my daughter's playhouse and when I got the kids' trampoline, and you always end up with like the spare parts, like the spare bolts and like the little tools and the spare springs and all of those kind of things. And like when I bought the kids a pump to blow up their football, you obviously get like the little needle, but you get other little valves and things with it too. So what I do, I even use freezer bags to keep those things together. So I've actually got a freezer bag that's got the trampoline parts and tools in it. I've got one that's got all the spare parts for the playhouse. I've got one that's got all of the pump things and the valves and things in it. And that's how I kind of keep all those bits and pieces together, rather than just like throwing them all into a junk drawer. Again, me being organised. Freezer bags are great for everything. Other than that, the only other thing I can think of off the top of my head that I bought from the Poundshop are these things. Now, these obviously aren't anything to do with Slimming World, but these I just find really helpful when I get a migraine, or even when I get like quite a bad headache. I don't know about you guys, but my head always feels like it's 100 degrees. I mean, the rest of my body could be absolutely freezing. I could be shivering, but my head will feel like it is absolutely burning up. And one of the few things that provides any relief from a migraine for me is cold on my head. Now, these ones are for the Poundshop. They're not brilliant. They're not as good a quality as some of the more expensive ones that you can buy, but they do the job for a while. It just means you tend to get through more than just one of them, but you get 3 in a pack, so it's not too bad. When I don't have these, it's normally a case of get a flannel, douse it in very, very cold water, give it a squeeze, and then lay that across my forehead, across my eyes, across my temples, because generally it's this area here that gets affected when I have migraines. So yeah, I stocked up on a few of those when I was there. I need to get more things done, so I'm going to load my washing machine while I'm talking to you and try and get as much done today as I can, because obviously what with today being Friday and we have the weekend ahead of us, I need to get lots done because I end up with lots of jobs over the weekend, having all of the kids around. Whoop. Right, so that's that. I'm sure there's more light stuff up the stairs that I will need to bring down and get in. I've actually got piles of clothes that I need to get away, but obviously that means kind of up and down, so I'm not going to do that on the video. The wee man's watching me again. He says hi everyone. And just over here, I'll try and show you. Yeah, I've got to try and clear all of this lot. Now, that's actually a basket of stuff that's all been washed and folded and sorted, so that's going to go by the door to go up the stairs. I really just need to get rid of all this stuff. I have... Right. See, why do I have this? Why do I have a cellophane wrapper from something there? That's going to go in the recycling bucket. I tend to keep... It's basically just... Oops. A bin from the Poundshop, which I keep all of my carrier bags and things in. See, I just have basically a bin full of bags for rubbish. Try and get all of those away. I've got these freezer bags that came from Muscle Food with my first order. I'm going to get these put away as well. Bang, crash, bang, crash. I actually have a broken drawer out of my freezer. I'm going to have to see if I can actually just buy a new drawer for a freezer. Can you do that? Can you just like order a drawer? I don't know, because it's all broken at the front. It's not great. Other random bits and pieces. Why is it that all this kind of junk and stuff appears in the kitchen? A lot of it doesn't actually go in the kitchen, but you know, it just appears. Okay, I admit I don't have a junk drawer, but I seem to have like a junk basket. But admittedly, it's only a small basket, but it will allow me to show you something. See? A Ziploc bag with all of the pump pots in it. I have playhouse spares, so all the little screws and things for the playhouse. I have one that's got some of my random cake decorating bits and pieces in it. And oh, I'm not going to pull the other one out because it's at the bottom, but there's also one that's got the trampoline bits and pieces in it as well. So yeah, I just keep all of those things together. What is it, wee man? Ba ba ba. Ba ba ba. He's getting very vocal these last few days. He's really experimenting with his voice and the sounds that he can make. I swear, the other day, I mean, he's been saying bum bum for like the last couple of weeks, but the other day it actually almost sounded like he said mum rather than bum. But he's not quite got to that m sound yet. But it'll come. It'll come. He's getting there. And that'll be like the best thing ever, really, when he says mum. Although at the moment he seems to be saying it with like quite a rage on, so I'm not sure if I really want to be hearing mum, mum all the time. That could be quite bad. Right, I have... My next door neighbour gave me these. I've not seen these for ages. They're just like... Well, the little lollipop maker things. I'm not entirely sure... Oh, it's got apparently a drip catcher and a drinking spout. It's quite interesting. I'm just going to try and get one of these out for you to show you. Because I hadn't really looked at them all that closely. I just assumed that they were like all of the other ones, just like a stick and the tub. But these ones actually look a little bit different. That's kind of cool. If I can get them out. So it looks like... Oh, how do you get these out? Oh, they don't want to come out. But basically, you've got like the bottom part, which obviously the lolly goes into, and the holder and the stick. But they've got this funky little straw, which apparently when you're holding the lolly up that way, as your ice lolly melts, you can use that little straw to suck out all the juice. Isn't that a fantastic idea? And because of the shape of this part, they don't get all sticky hands and everything. That's quite cool. What I was thinking actually, my friend mentioned to me about Muller Lights. Now I've actually put some, I put 2 of the After 8, the chocolate mint ones in the freezer, just in their normal tubs, because I thought they might be kind of cool. They might be a bit like chocolate mint ice cream. However, they have been in there a couple of days. I think you're only meant to put it in there for like a few hours. So I might have to like leave it to defrost a little while before I attempt to eat it. But I thought, well, if I can have, in effect, free chocolate mint ice cream as a pudding, sin-free, then it's got to be worth a try, right? But yeah, she was saying, well, why don't you make Muller like lollipops? And that's quite a good idea. Because, I mean, they do solidify, don't they? They do freeze. And then in the evening, especially if you had like one of the orange and dark chocolate ones or something, all frozen into a lollipop, and you could just sort of, it would be like having ice cream. Like ice cream on a stick. Might have to try those. And we were also talking about the Slimming World Haribo sweets. I did make some of those like ages ago. I've not made any in a long time. And even my kids quite liked them as well. Although I'm thinking about maybe trying some like without the yoghurt half. And just trying, basically following a recipe that I used to use when I was at work. Just to make gummy sweeties. But using obviously the sugar-free jelly crystals. And the gelatin and everything, so they set harder. Because I found that the ones that I made before still seemed quite kind of, I don't know, they weren't sticky, but I don't know, it was almost like they felt like they were going to melt again. There was something kind of a little bit slimy about them that I didn't like too much. However, I mean, obviously the yoghurt layer does make them more filling, and does make the mixture stretch further, so that is a bonus. But I am thinking about maybe if I can dig out some of my moulds, one of the ones that have just got like quite small holes in them, I'm going to try and do some more of the gummy sweets. Because again, in the evening, when I want something sweet, if it's just basically jelly that's only 1.5 sins and some gelatin which is free, then basically I can have a little tub of gummy sweets. So I don't know why I'm like suggesting this like it's something new. I mean, probably all of you watching have like heard of them, or you've tried them, or you make them on a regular basis. It's just, as I say, I'm kind of going through this like reawakening of myself and of things, and it sounds a bit weird, but hey, I have admitted to you before that I am weird, right? So things like that I'm going to try. I'm going to try and get them done this week, so that I'm basically giving myself the best possible chance of success. I really, really want to try and lose as much of that £6 that I put on as possible for next week. Now, I'm not actually gonna set myself a specific target for this week. I mean, I know in my head that I want to get that £6 off, and that if I get £7 off, that I'm gonna get my 2.5 stone award. But I think trying to like put that pressure on myself to lose half a stone in a week is probably going to be too much pressure. Now, I managed to put on £6 easy enough in a week, and I dare say it's not entirely impossible to lose it in a week. But I don't think putting that much kind of stress onto myself is that good an idea. So I'm taking each day and just focusing on getting through that day and not using all of my sins or like staying within my sins for the day. I normally do use all of my sins, and I dare say through the week a lot of my meals that I have probably will involve the use of some sins for sauces and things like that. However, I think if I can, at least for the first few days, if I can sort of stay well within my sin allowance, so like yesterday I actually only had 6 sins, which is quite unusual for me. If I can do that and sort of save some sins, if you like, then, you know, it gives me a little bit more breathing space sort of over the weekend and towards the end of the food week, where I might really be struggling to stay within that sin limit. I know that in theory I've got that little bit of room to play with, and hopefully that will be enough to keep me within my kind of weekly sin allowance. Now, I know some people do just look at their weekly allowance and think, well, it doesn't matter what days I have it on, as long as within that week I stay within X amount of sins, we're all good. And I think for a lot of people that works. Other people obviously do just use their sins each day. Other people kind of save them up all week and then like binge at the weekend when they go out. My understanding, as far as Slimming World are concerned, is that you are meant to use your amount of sins each day. That is the plan. You have your speed food, you have your free food, you have your healthy extra A and B, and you have your daily sins. That is food optimizing. So if you're not having both of your healthy extras in a day, and you're not having your sins each day, you're saving them up for later on in the week, then strictly speaking, you're not food optimizing. Because you're meant to have a bit of all of those things every day. So I'm trying my best to kind of do that. I know that I have a 20 sin allowance for each day, and I'm going to be using probably most of them each day. So I'm going to try to food optimize as best as I can. However, because I know that there are normally a couple of days in the week that trip me up, I'm just trying to give myself a little bit of a buffer there. Obviously next week you'll find out how successful I've been. And obviously throughout the week I shall try and keep you updated with what I've eaten and how I've gotten on. I think I might do a lasagna for dinner, because I've got this new cheese to try and it's supposed to be very good melted, and because I can have that bit more of it, I think it will make a more enjoyable lasagna for me. Because when I do lasagna, I don't tend to make a white sauce for it. I just tend to use my mince, my pasta and my cheese and layer it, or mince, pasta, cheese. And because I can obviously have that little bit more cheese, I can either make a really nice cheesy crust on the top, or I can actually have a layer of cheese in the middle, which I think will make it quite nice. So yeah, I think lasagna might be the choice of today, because that will be sin-free, it will be filling, it will be tasty, it's one of my favourites, and I can have cheese. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you guys are so far having a fantastic week. I hope you have an awesome weekend, no matter what it is you're doing, and I will catch up with you all again soon. See ya!
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up below. If you would like to see more recipe ideas, how-to videos, live cook-alongs, cleaning and organising tips and much more, then please click that subscribe button and you will be notified each time I upload a fabby new video. Until next time, my friends.